What's going on, traders? This is going to be a short, quick video. I'm not going to hold you guys too long. I just want to give you guys my expectations for this week. I'm also letting you guys know that I won't be making too many videos this week. I'll probably make like one more tomorrow, and then I'll be enjoying my Thanksgiving week. And I encourage you to do the same if you just so happen to celebrate Thanksgiving. If not, then enjoy your week regardless. And I really appreciate the support on this channel. Other than that, let's get straight into it. So right now we're looking at the triple Q's daily time frame, and as you guys can see, we've been trading in this rising channel for quite some time. We talked about this in multiple videos, and we're still within this channel. But what's important to note is where we're heading on the triple Q's, and right now it looks like we're heading right back to the top of this rising channel. Now let's get a closer look. Let's go to the 2 hour time frame and really give you guys an idea on what's happening here. And so for quite some time, the triple Qs has been forming this bear flag. All right. And we've been talking about how the triple Qs broke below its rising wedge. I erased the rising wedge. I like to, erase everything and pretty much get a fresh start every trading week. I encourage you to do the same as a trader. It really helps a lot. It really refreshes the brain. It refreshes the thought process. It just really, really helps to, pretty much start over from scratch. I don't do it all the time, but it's very healthy to do. So anyway, back to the triple Qs. So the triple Q's broke below its rising wedge. If you want to see how that looks, check out my last video. But right now, we've been forming this bear flag below the rising wedge, and look where we're heading. Okay, look where we're heading. Now, let's go right here. Okay, let's pay attention right here. So right here, we wicked off support, we bounced off support, we wicked off support again, and then we finally broke through and we rolled back into that rising channel that we talked about on the daily time frame, right? And what happens when we roll back into a pattern? Typically, we continue in that direction. And so what's interesting here is that we broke down, but we never came back to retest this support slash resistance. It's now resistance, right? And so I think that's where we're heading. Okay, I think this is where we're heading, where we're going to retest about 508, 510 all over again before we can see a potential drop. Okay, and I just want to give you guys an idea on just how this looks. Okay, so let's actually mark this area out. So right here is where that support slash resistance ended up forming, and then we broke down, we never retested, and now we're slowly climbing up to retest this area. And then from there, I do think there is potential for a sell-off. Okay. Now, it is a holiday week, and it's pretty rare for us to have like some massive, huge sell off within the same week of a holiday. It's very rare that that happens. But Wednesday we do have a FOMC, we have GDP news, so it's very much possible with that type of news, lurking right before a holiday. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. And so that's what I'm looking at in regards to the triple Q. So 30 minutes to open. I will be very careful. We did gap up after hours, so we'll have to see how that plays out in regards to the ETFs and the actual market. So I would really be careful and just me personally, I'm just gonna wait 30 minutes until open and really see how the things play out, especially if we hit 508, between 508, 510 on the triple Q. So something to keep in mind there. So let's look at the SPY. And so the SPY is in a very interesting spot as well. We go to the daily time frame, right? And we talked about this channel as well. And you see the same thing that we saw on the triple Qs. You see this rising channel. And if you're new to the channel, this is what we've been talking about for like the past, previous videos where we hit the top of this channel right here in this area. And I know you don't see it yet, but we're going to zoom in a bit. But we rolled back into the channel, and now we're heading back towards the top of this channel, right? And so we go to the 4 hour time frame and we get a better view. And so as you guys can see, there's a much smaller channel on the 4 hour time frame. You see it here. You rejected here, rejected here, rejected here, bounced here, so on and so forth. You get the idea, right? And so it looks like we're heading back towards the top of this channel, and I would say 600. Okay, be careful around 600. Now, it's very much possible that we break higher than 600 and head towards 605. But me, I would really put the triple Qs and the SPY together and just really, really play cautious around this 600 level. Now, if we just so happen to break higher and head towards 605, that's great. That's fine. But again, I would just be careful. We'll say be careful between 600 and 605. That's what I will say. Okay. Be careful around this area in general. Okay. That's what I have for the SPY. Just really be careful. Okay. Gapping up is great and everything. But if we gap up and just so happen to end up at 600 in the morning at open, be careful. Okay, it could be a bull trap. Now, we don't have news tomorrow. I will say that much. So that is a good sign for bulls. I will say that. But regardless, me personally, you can do what you want with this information. I'm going to kind of sit back and just watch how things play out because I don't trust this. Okay, I just don't trust where we are, and that leads me to the ES. And this is important. This is why I say everything, you need to look at everything. Everything needs to correlate, everything needs to match. And now everything's starting to match. Remember, in our last few videos, the triple Qs was not lining up with everything else we were seeing. The triple Qs was looking bearish and constantly setting up these bear traps, while the NQ, the ES, the SPY, they were all looking bullish. And we pretty much been calling it out like right on cue on just how the triple Qs is constantly bear trapping everybody, or was going to, or kept doing it, right? And so now we're at the point where everything is starting to match up. All the math is mathing right now. And so we look at the ES, and as you guys can see, the same thing. We have our rising channel. But this is where things get very interesting. You see right here, we have this trend that we've been pretty much bouncing off of. We bounced here, we bounced here, we bounced here, and we zoom in and look where we are. Okay, look where we are. And look where we're heading. See right here? Look where we're heading. 6,000, around 6,040, 6,050 is where I would be careful on the ES because you have double resistance right here. You have not only your resistance right here, but then you have this trend line right here. And so a scenario that we can be looking at right here in regards to the ES is we hit this double resistance at this area right here, form a double top or a potential double top because there's no neckline break yet. But then our neckline will be right here. So let's actually map this out. Okay, let's give you guys a good idea on what we're looking at here. So you will have your top here, right? You have your one top there, you have your second top here, and then your neckline would be just about here at around, we'll say 5,875, 5,850, somewhere around that range. So that could be a scenario that we're looking at where we form some type of double top or potential double top, and then for confirmation, we'll look for a break of this neckline. So again, everything is starting to, add up. Everything is starting to correlate. The triple Qs is falling in line with everything else. And so we look at the NQ. NQ, same thing. We zoom in on the NQ, and we literally talked about this on the triple Qs. Look what we're looking at here. Okay. Again, we have another bear flag forming on the NQ. Okay. And so I would be careful at around 21,000, 21,050, 21,000. And again, the same thing we saw on the triple Qs. Look right here. Boom. Bounced here, you bounced here. I don't know if you guys can see these wicks, but you bounced here, right? You bounced here, and look what happened. Again, you broke down, but you never came back to retest this resistance, right? And so it looks like that's exactly where we're heading. And we're pretty close after hours. We're at 20,950, guys. So again, I would just really, really urge caution here. Okay, really, really urge caution. This might be off a little bit. There we go. But really urge caution at around 21,000. We'll say 21,050, 21,080, somewhere around there. Be very, very careful because this is where these guys are. All right. Now, another scenario could happen where these bulls actually drag the market higher or drag the NQ out of this area. It's very much possible. But am I counting on it? Not yet until I get confirmation. But right now, just like we saw on the ES, just like we saw on the triple Qs, we are looking at double resistance here. Okay, boom. We hit two walls right here, guys. All right, so I would just really, really be careful. Now, we could just simply, hit this area and just simply head back down and fill this gap and then just head higher all over again. That's very much possible. Okay, we could just keep milking this until whatever happens, happens. Okay, so that's very much possible. But again, really, really urge caution out around those levels. Really keep those levels that I talked about in mind because it might end up hurting you. We'll see. Okay, now another one I want to look at is the Russell. And so what's interesting about the Russell here is we're very overbought. We're overbought on like almost all the small time frames. 2 hour time frame, you're overbought. Look at it. I mean, you're just in Narnia here, right? 4 hour, overbought, right? And look what happens every time we got overbought on the Russell. You absolutely tanked, except for this guy. This This just ended up forming some type of bearish divergence. But regardless, I mean, every smaller time frame, right? You're very overbought. The hourly, very overbought here, right? So again, I would just really urge caution. And what do we know about the Russell? I tell you guys all the time, the Russell does not make big moves without the market. Okay, so if the Russell's is showing signs of a drop, you might want to take that into consideration with the overall market because the Russell is not going to move too far off from the market. Something to keep in mind here. So that's really all I have, guys. I mean, there's not really much to go over. I mean, I guess I can go over semiconductors, but I just wanted to keep this really short and simple. Be cautious. Nvidia still holding 140 is a good sign, but once it starts giving up 140 again, yeah, you might want to run for the hills. So again, wait 30 minutes to open is what I recommend. You do what you want, but that's what I plan on doing. Wait 30 minutes to open, maybe even an hour at most if you really want to be safe. But things are they're not looking too bad, but they're looking really sketchy. And right now we're looking like we're just retesting previous resistance or what was support, now resistance. So that's all I have for this video. Let me know your thoughts below. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, maybe I missed something. Maybe I'm just not paying attention to something. Let me know as well. But as always, just keep it respectful. And other than that, that's all I have for this video, guys. Until the next video, traders, have a good one.